Greetings, class, and welcome to week 12. This week we're going to cover a couple of different topics. The first one we are going to cover is the buddy cop film. So first of all, what are buddy cops? They don't necessarily start out as buddies, as you might think. So an old cop and new cop, or opposites of some other kind, who are forced to work together. And although initially antagonistic, they come to respect each other, solve the case, and eat holiday dinners at each other's houses. That's the Lethal Weapon model right there. But they need to start out in a slightly antagonistic fashion, find each other's strengths and weaknesses, learn how to work together, and then realize that the only way to succeed is through some type of codependency. So examples are Lethal Weapon, Bad Boys, Seven, Hot Fuzz. Seven is kind of the outlier there because of the fact that it's a very grim film. The other ones are comedies, you could probably say. So why is their partnership important? To solve the case, each cop must use his unique skill. So one's uptight and follows the rules. The other is crazy. One's a seasoned veteran nearing retirement, and the other is young and spontaneous. One is smart and weak, while the other is strong and stupid. So the differences between these partners are what end up making them strong. So each one has to discover his strength, and they need to figure out a way to work as a team in order to solve the case. That's usually the whole point of the buddy cop film. Our second topic that we want to talk about today is going undercover. So the film we're going to watch today is a twofer in this respect. So when a police detective hides his or her identity and attempts to stop crime from within, this often takes months or years to set up and even longer to complete. It doesn't work the way it does on weekly cop shows where a cop just becomes an undercover cop all of a sudden and then solves the case within 45 minutes. It just doesn't work that way. So for which crimes or cases would this be effective? Organized crime, where gang leadership is protected by several layers of underling gang members. Cults and terrorist cells. They require elaborate backgrounds in order to get in. So in both these cases, in order to actually make any headway with the case, you're going to need to get embedded somehow with either the gang or the cult or the terrorist cell or whatever. And you need to gain their trust. And the way to do that is by sending someone who is going to pretend to be one of those folks. And it's going to take a long time to gain their trust. So what are some of the dangers and difficulties? Blowing your cover or having it blown for you. Because if you can't continue to pretend to be the person you say you are, or somebody figures out that you aren't, you're not going to survive. Going in too deep. So to maintain street cred, where do you draw the line? And if you have to constantly redraw that line because you have to do things that normally you wouldn't as a police officer, and say you have to beat somebody up or do drugs, then do you end up doing that on a regular basis and completely kind of losing your identity as a detective? And also family life. So how do you stay connected and or return to normal when it's all over? So in addition to not being able to contact your family while you're on the case because you could put them in danger, and this could take years, afterwards you have to be able to go back and be with your family. And socially that might be very difficult because of all the things that you've been through. So our film this week is 21 Jump Street. As I said, it's a twofer. It covers both buddy cops and going undercover. It's from 2012, directed by Phil Lord and Chris Miller, who directed the Lego Movie. And they also got fired from Solo, a Star Wars story. I like pointing that out because I thought Solo, a Star Wars story, was really terrible. And it might have been good if those guys had been allowed to finish directing it. Just saying. So our synopsis. After screwing up one too many times, two young police officers are forced to redeem themselves by going undercover in the seedy criminal underworld of high school. So this is a remake / reimagination of the 1980s TV series, which first thrust Johnny Depp into the public eye and unfortunately kept him there, like just a little too long. I seriously doubt any of you watched the original TV show, but it's still, you can still find it in some places. But this is a very different film from that, but it uses the same jumping off point, i.e. Jump Street. So our questions for this week. Number 1, why is it necessary for Janko and Schmidt to go undercover? And what problems do they encounter specifically of the going undercover variety. Number 2, why does Schmidt get in too deep? And why is Jenko able to maintain perspective? Number 3, how does this film also function as a buddy cop movie? And number 4, what did Jenko and Schmidt each learn from the experience? And how does it make them a better team? All right, enjoy this film, and I will talk to you folks next week.